Welcome to Module 3. Here we're going to talk about comparables. If you've gone through the fix and flip class, this will resonate with you. If you haven't, then I guess we're getting you ready for the fix and flip class.
And also, I'm going to throw this in. We go into heavy detail about how to use comparables in the Finding Off-Market Deals class. So that's a good resource for that as well.
And honestly, the more you know about comparables, the easier it's going to be in any strategy. So,
yeah. It's
again,
a staple in real estate, right? You got to know how to look at comps.
You got to know your numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no business without the numbers. Just want to remind you that disclosure, I'm not a licensed attorney, accountant, advisor, licensed individual. I'm just sharing my experience. We're going to dive into comps now. Okay, this is good old Google Maps. Okay, so you come with a property, we're diving right in. This is an example in Savannah, Georgia. We're going to dive through right now. You look it up, right? You see the front of the house. So whether you've been to the property or not, you want to see it on a map. And that's how you're going to start your comps process. Take into account the condition of the property when you're running your numbers, okay? This is an example of the inside. Yeah, this looks like the fix and flip class, I'm sure.
I was just going to say, this feels more like a fix and flip than an air cash flow.
I know.
Just at first glance, I'd go,
this needs to be repaired. You can't do this as is. But I'm talking about comps, so I want to make sure you're factoring that in. Because if you're running your comps on a property like this and you're comparing it to the ones of pictures I'm going to show you in a little bit, that's not equivalent. Not equivalent. So think about the condition of the property before, and you might have to listen to the fix and flip class and the other class you mentioned to talk about repair costs before we dive in. Factor that into your comps. So I want to mention that up front. But take your property, look it up on Google Maps, open Airbnb, and on the right side you'll see this little tab where you can click the little switch and show the map. So you want to get on Airbnb. It doesn't let you search addresses. So you're just going to pull up the city, and then you're going to use that map on the right, compare it to the Google map, and find where your property is. From there, these little prices, the little numbers you see showing up in the map are properties and their price, that's their minimum price per night. So you're able to see general areas, it's not specifically pinpointed, general areas where other properties are around yours. So compared to Google Maps, you have to flip back and forth just like this to see exactly where 108 Pounder Street is. And click on the properties, so those little numbers you saw on the map that are close by yours, click on some of those, open up a handful of tabs, and click on the prices. So once you've clicked the prices, it will show the listing. So this is a listing. It shows some pictures, shows the name of the house. I would say this one's pretty close. The pictures are really bad. But if you wanted to do a minimum to this property, that kind of looks like the outside. I think the other one actually at Pounder Street, the one that we're looking at as an air cash flow property, actually had a little bit more curb appeal. But you're able to see how many guests it sleeps, how many bedrooms, bath count. And this is my warning to you. Be careful when you're researching prices because people it's marketing. People like to hide fees. How many times you've gone to rent a rental car? It says $90 a day. You check out and you divide it by your days. You're like, that's $200 a day.
All the hidden fees and all. Yeah.
Yes.
So much.
Think about those. If you just got on Airbnb, you would think, and you didn't click through or do any more research or use this strategy I'm teaching you right now, you would think nobody's making money, and that's just marketing. Don't let it get you hung up. Some of the listing sites, Airbnb specifically, only show the lowest nightly price. So if there's a Tuesday in November that's listed for $30 a night, it'll show as $30. So click on some specific dates to get a better idea of the nightly rate. Okay, and then once you get to that listing, scroll down a little bit and check out the occupancy. Is this place getting booked? If it's entirely blocked off, it's probably not 100% booked. It could be a long stay. But generally, you're going to have some orphan days in between. So this example I searched in January.
What are orphan days?
Yes, good question. Orphan days are, like on the screen right now, the 7th of February. So you have a booking, somebody checks in on the 1st, out on the 6th, and then guest number 2 checks in on the 8th and out on the 10th. So it's an orphan.
It's just one day.
One day in between.
Doesn't have a family of days around it.
Doesn't have a family. Scroll down. So I searched this in January, took these screenshots. look at how they're booking. So it says, you can tell from this, okay, weekends are booking strong, and you can assume more bookings will come in for those weekdays, just because the 4th, 5th, and 6th are booked as the time progresses. So you can always assume it's going to be a little bit better occupied, but count days. This is 11 to 15 days occupied at $90 a night. And again, this is just running comps. These results aren't necessarily typical. This is just the example we're running today. Look for so go back to the map, click on those prices, and look for 2 to 4 more comps. Open them in different tabs so you can look at them all at the same time and take some averages. Be careful, just like in long term and in that fix and flip class, when crossing major streets or areas. So looking at this property, this is obviously a better quality. You're going to have to do some major repairs on 108 Pounder Street to get it in this kind of shape. But look at the price per night. Look at how many it is sleeping. Look at the occupancy. So this one is, just right around the corner, and they're getting their weekdays filled. So you say, okay, cool. They're at $89 a night. They have 21 days already occupied, and it's still January, so they're killing it. Take another example. So this is another one. This one's 2 bedrooms, 3 beds, 1 bath, 4 guests. It's not necessarily about the bed bath count as heavily as it is in like a flip comp. But look at how many guests it sleeps. Look at all of them together. You want to do a good comparison, get a good mix. But if one property sleeps 6 people and one sleeps 4, it's an okay comparison. But if you're doing 4 to 12, not a great comparison. Look at that nightly price. This one's coming up $164. So if you had 26 nights at $164, this is what you're averaging. This is their calendar here. Now I did want to show you this. So you can tell how well hosts are doing by how accurately they're listing their properties. So here highlighted in red, you have the 1 bedroom and then the 2nd bedroom and how many. So I want to flip back. This is the same example. This is the same property. I just scrolled a little bit down in the screenshot. They say that it sleeps 4 people, and it's showing that it sleeps 4 people. This is the number one thing where you can see if this might not be a good comp, is if the beds don't really add up to the number of people they're saying that it sleeps. You want to watch out for that when you're running comps.
So if I'm going down to with a group of buddies, I don't necessarily want 2 queen beds, right?
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
so pay attention to the arrangement, is what you're saying, of the occupancy.
Yeah, because it makes a difference for comps.
Yep.
So you definitely want to take note of the arrangement and make sure they're listing it accurately.
Right.
If they're saying it sleeps 12 people, but there's only 3 beds, that's not a good comp.
As an investor, I'm thinking to myself, I want to put as many people in a house as I can. I've got a big property. I think you've seen it. I've got a big property in Holiday.
Yes.
That I think we put it sleeps 16 people or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's with some blow-up mattresses that we put in there and some bunk beds and a couple of queen beds and a king bed.
Yeah.
So as an investor, I'm going to try to inflate that number as big as I can because I want to get big parties there, right?
Yes.
But
when you're looking at other hosts that aren't as strategic as you are, you want to make sure they're not just saying sleep 16 and they have 2 twin beds in there, because
it's a 900 square foot house.
That's not a good comp. And we're still in the Wild West of short-term rentals, air cash flow as the strategy develops. So your comps, you just got to make sure are closer to accurate.
Well, I would assume that other property owners have that same attitude as me, is they're going to try to push the number as much as possible to appeal to the broadest audience. Yeah. So as the consumer, you've got to look at it through that filter, and so there's 2 sides to that.
Yep, you got it dead right. And again, these aren't necessarily typical results. This is just the example we're running through today. So if you took those 3 properties that we looked at that are good comps for this property that we're interested in Georgia, average nightly price is $114. Your average occupancy you're seeing in that calendar is 80%. Your gross monthly income would be $2,286. Estimated expenses are $300. We'll go through how to estimate expenses a little bit later. And your monthly net that you would walk home with in this example is $1,986. That's pretty good cash flow. I don't really care what market. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna find a long-term rental of the same size and location that's gonna cash flow that.
The only thing, and I've looked hard, that I found that's even close is halfway houses, and that's an entirely different business.
A different animal.
That's a different animal. That's the only thing I've seen come even close.
It's interesting because every strategy has its pros and cons.
Yes.
Right? Like there's so many pros with air cash flow, but there's a set of cons too. I mean, it's more management, you have more turnover, but there's also the positivity of you don't, you're not vacant for months at a time. You may be vacant for days at a time.
Yeah.
There's higher cash flow. I have a halfway house. I have a sober living fourplex.
There you go.
And there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
They beat the crap out of those properties.
Oh, they do.
Seriously, we're constantly in there fixing stuff, but
that pain comes with additional cash flow.
Exactly.
And that's a principle
that goes around. And it's guaranteed by the state.
Yes.
Which I love about halfway houses. So, just like everything, there's pros and cons.
There are, and I love that you said that. Okay, so if all those slides just looked real confusing to you, there are other ways you can run comps. AirDNA is the best software that you can purchase to buy numbers comps. They scrape all of the listing sites like Airbnb, VRBO, HomeAway every day. They compile that information so you can put in an address. They let you do a certain number of searches for free, but sign up with your email address. You might have to pay to get the data that you want, but they're the best in the industry. So use airdna.co. You can type in your address there, and they can give you comps of what's going on around you, how many they're sleeping, what the nightly averages is, seasonality, low season, high season. They're a great resource for that, and some of it's available for free. Pricelabs.co is also where you can get a great resource where you can find worksheets on specific properties that show you some data around it, what people around you are doing as far as price, how many they sleep, all those things. Bigger Pockets has an Airbnb calculator, and that's free as well. It's not crazy accurate, but it's a place to start.
Cool. And I know our friends at the FTC are going to want to know and want us to share with our students here. Are these paid advertisements?
No.
Paid endorsements? Okay,
no.
So you haven't received any money for this. These are just tools that you use.
This is what I do.
Awesome.
That's it. You don't get anything special. This is all just free resources for you.
Cool.
I'm not being compensated to mention any of these resources.
Nice.
Okay, rad. And, well, I guess I might be paid to do this through my own business.
But in an indirect way.
In a very indirect way. In cash flow.
Right.
This is our own companies. This is Home Havens. We run comps. If you're interested in having us manage your property, we are darn good at running comps at this point. So reach out to us. You can reach out on our website. This is our contact us on our website. These are the things we're going to ask for. So if you provide those just in the form, you'll get a faster response. But we always get back to people and get you some good comps.
That's awesome. And I stress in every one of my classes for the students that are listening. I mean, they know this. It's so important to use professionals because, like I talked about in a previous module, real estate investing is a business that you have to scale. It can be one of two things. It can be something that just replaces your job and becomes another full-time job. And I'll be honest with you, a full-time job in doing things like management of your own properties and construction of your own properties, that becomes a headache because most people don't consider that part of it as taking up the majority of their time. But there are professionals out there, and I have not met a better professional than you, Lauren. So utilize these resources. Use your professionals. Lauren has years more experience and hundreds of properties worth of experience more than you do. So rely on that. She's got some awesome resources. Jump on her website. If you're looking at different properties, reach out to her and see how you guys can work together. But use your professionals. It's back to the philosophy that we talked about with aces in their places. You've got to put people who know what they're doing, like Lauren, over these types of areas in your investment strategy. And you, as the investor, need to focus on the investing side. That's finding properties, analyzing them, closing on them, funding them, and then moving to the next one. Right? Let the professionals like Lauren handle the management stuff like this so that you can scale your business. That's what they do. So definitely jump on our website and check it out.
Perfect. Thank you. And it's true. I will not be remodeling a property anytime soon.
Right?
That is not the aces in their places. That's not me.
Yeah.
We're good at running comps as a company.
Right.
We're real good at it.
Yeah.
What?
You guys are the pros. You're the aces in that place, right? You're the ace in the place.
That we are. I am an ace of some place.
Yep.
Great. Well, thanks for wrapping up Module 3 with us, and we will see you on the other side with Module 4.